The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I appreciate him coming on short notice. He is a best-selling author and one of the head researchers over at WorldNetDaily.com. He's a frequent contributor to our radio and TV show here at Infowars.com. Dr. Jerome Corsi received his Ph.D. from Harvard University in political science at 72. He's currently senior staff reporter for WorldNet Daily. He's also an investigative reporter. He's written a bunch of #1 best-selling New York Times political books that have changed the outcome of elections. And I want to have him with us here today to get into Ted Cruz, the libertarian conservative revolution, the Gallup poll showing all-time no trust in government, and so much more. But Dr. Corsi, you were on Monday, and maybe one out of, it's got to be 500 videos get censored by YouTube. And YouTube's a large part of our outreach. We've reached conservatively with our channels 500 million people just with our channels. We've got 330-something million on one channel. We have films that get seen 20, 30, 40 million times on other folks' channels. So it's an important outreach to people that don't listen to talk radio. And every time I talk about Saudi Arabia funding terrorism, which is on record, every time I talk about Obama connected to funding terrorism, we're seeing censorship. They have blocked the video on my smartphone and other smartphones, and on regular computers it says breaking, Obama linked to Kenyan mall massacre revealed. And we show all the links and the history and Odinga and being with the radical Muslims and Obama funding the Muslim Brotherhood out of Kenya that you wrote about a month ago, and it's in the Egyptian press. So I want to give you the floor for the 8 minutes. I'm not going to interrupt you until we go to break because I want to hear what you really have to say, because you always bring up so much, it makes me bring up other points. I'm going to give you the floor, sir. Well, okay, and to go over this type of censorship we're seeing and any new developments that are unfolding, then we'll go to break, then we're going to come back, and we're going to go into some of the other things that are happening political. But Dr. Corsi, go ahead.
Well, the main links here are that Kenya, of course, which is what Obama claims is his, the country of his father. Obama, going back to Odinga, who is the Luo tribe member, as Obama's family was Luo tribe, in the run-up to the election in 2007, Obama and Odinga were close. Obama was in Kenya in 2006 before he ran for election and made contact with Odinga. Odinga signed an agreement. It was first a secret agreement, then it was brought forward to the public in Kenya with radical Islamists in Kenya, saying that if they would support Odinga, he would sway the government to accommodate Islamist interests and would work with his new constitution to put increasingly Kenya under Sharia law. Well, the Odinga did not win the election. And as part of the plan that had been discussed with Obama, and I documented that back in 2004, going forward, 2008 election, that Obama and Odinga were going to have this violence, which Odinga had. The Luo tribe members rose up against the Kikuyu. People were killed. Christians were burned in churches in Kenya. Obama did not condemn the violence. He used the violence to advance the career of Odinga. Kofi Annan entered. Odinga became co-head of state with President Kibaki. He became prime minister. And then rolling forward, when Obama is president, we're putting all kinds of foreign aid into Kenya. We are actually using U.S. public money, taxpayer money, to fund the Constitution passing, this new Constitution pressed by Odinga, which opens up, again, Kenya to Sharia law, which invites in various Islamic factions. Islamic factions are coming in from Somalia. These are welcomed in by Odinga, and the radical Islamic presence in Kenya begins to build. At the same time, Malik Obama, who is the half-brother of Barack Obama in Kenya, emerges in that he is managing money for the Egyptian Brotherhood for the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. And the Egyptian government comes out and they say they're going to prosecute. There have been criminal charges filed against Malik for running terrorist money. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood is actually illegal, condemned within Egypt. There's a number of Muslim Brotherhood members in prison, going to await trial. The government, and this new government, the military government, has announced that they will reveal the links of Obama, president in the White House, supporting through his brother Malik, the Muslim Brotherhood interests in radical Islam throughout Egypt, throughout North Africa, and into Kenya. Malik also manages the Islamic Dawah Fund, which is a North Sudanese fund, another terrorist fund, for the president of that country, Bashar, who is under criminal indictment by the International Criminal Court in The Hague for genocide. And Malik Obama has these deep ties. He's running a fraudulent 501c3 in the United States, named after his brother, the Barack H. Obama Foundation, that Lois Lerner gave retroactive determination letter so that it was a tax-free organization, tax-exempt organization.
And now Obama has signed orders 2 weeks ago to openly arm terrorists. He's so evil and so gangster and so corrupt and getting away with everything. I can't even believe it's gotten this wild, and that he actually, for all intents and purposes, Obama is the head of al-Qaeda worldwide.
Well, I've said that. I've said basically we are al-Qaeda. People got to understand we've become al-Qaeda. The United States has been funding al-Qaeda, certainly since before Gaddafi fell. What we were doing with Benghazi, because remember, Ambassador Stevens came into Libya through Benghazi before we had diplomatic relations with Libya. And what he was doing was working with the al-Qaeda factions, the radical Islamic factions. The Obama administration was arming these factions. We were producing weapons so they could oppose and depose Gaddafi. Once Gaddafi was deposed and the radical al-Qaeda forces took over Libya, and now Ambassador Stevens is ambassador. He's again in Benghazi, and we're running guns now from Libya to al-Qaeda and the jihadis, and sending terrorists from Libya via Turkey and arms into Syria, where we're backing the al-Qaeda forces again, just as we back the Muslim Brotherhood forces throughout northern Africa. And again, these are all radical jihadist factors. The Muslim Brotherhood is now outlawed as a criminal terrorist organization in Egypt, and President Obama was solidly behind the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. That's the story, and it's all true.
And when you say we're behind al-Qaeda, obviously criminal elements in the government centered around Obama, and it goes back before that, but why would they calculate to stir up a Sunni Shiite civil war across the Middle East, offensively with the West committing war crimes, arming al-Qaeda, to start the fight under common law and international law that is a war crime? And how do they think they're going to get away with this? And now you have spectacles like the head of al-Nusra, who's also the head of al-Qaeda, coming out 2 weeks ago and saying attack soft targets, and now they're doing it. And then Obama's half-brother is involved funding these groups, and it's public. I mean, I just can't believe how naked they are. They're not even trying to hide it. I mean, Reagan arming the Contras was nothing compared to this. I mean, why are they so arrogant?
Well, because again, follow the money. The interests being served here are Saudi Arabia. And Obama's serving Saudi Arabia's interests, lying to the American public. Another CIA set of lies. Look who's in charge of the CIA, John Brennan. John Brennan's intelligence firm before Obama was president sanitized Obama's passport records. The 2 employees for Brennan who did it were not reprimanded, fired. Their names weren't even released. And then Brennan emerges as National Security Advisor in the White House, and now he's elevated to head of the CIA. The only benefit here is that Saudi Arabia wants to destabilize the Middle East in favor of Sunni groups, Sunni radical groups that can oppose the Shiites in Iran and any forces tied to the Shiites like Assad in Syria. And the reason for this is oil. It's money in oil. Saudi Arabia wants to keep the price of oil high. They don't want any competition. They want the United States serving their oil interests.
That's right. Dr. Corsi stay. They're going to come back.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.